This is amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Water.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, oi! Contact with the fishies!
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around. Woo.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan de Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. There's Michael Culture that's got around Dylan de Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cullajar's got past, so Dylan...
light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan de Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in and we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
green and they're off.
First lap? Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. It's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tannock and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't implemented it, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if he gets a good run. Dodd's just absolute thinker, but it is a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, sim racing fans. Welcome back to SRWtv. Tonight we jump back into the world of open wheelers for round 3 of season 2 of the Shannon Formula 3 Nationals. After an action-packed sprint round last week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we head to the Nurburgring for a 60-minute race tonight. It's Cowie Overage Sim Racer here with Hamish Munro once again. He's on the mic and behind the cameras, covering the action on tonight's racing. Nurburgring, it's quite a favourite of mine, though I like the extra 160 corners of the Nordschleifer, but should be pretty interesting for these cars tonight.
Yeah, mate, Nürburgring, of course, a classic for Grand Prix racing. I remember first driving around this on one of the incredibly old F1 games. Probably F1 2004 would have been the first time I can remember racing around this track. It is and it's an exceptional circuit, obviously. One of the 2 top-tier gems in Germany alongside the Hockenheim Ring. We get to go racing around it for 60 minutes tonight and some awesome racing machines out of the Super Formula Lights for some F3 action. So I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see other drivers tackle this one. We've only ever been here once before, and that was in the old F3, Cowie. So be interested to see how these newer Super Formula Lights handle this track and how the drivers get up to speed with it as well.
Now, I see some cloud cover out there tonight, Hamish. What do the weather gods have in store for us this evening here at the Nürburgring?
I've checked percentage of precipitation prior to the race. Doesn't appear that we're going to be getting some rain. But, you know, it could change on a dime. We never know. It may just... The cloud may just pass over and, you know, maybe just edge us a little bit on that one. But maybe we'll get some moisture on track as well. We'll have to wait and see, though, in tonight's racing proceedings. But yeah, I mean, Nürburgring, it's a wild track, isn't it, Cowie? You can throw up almost anything, whether it's the Nordschleifer or just the regular Grand Prix circuit or the WEC style of the Grand Prix circuit as well. So many different challenges, you know, the inner stadium section out at the first sector of the track and up through the long portion of long straight hard braking zone, turn in, turn out, and continue on to the next part of the track. It is all a big challenge. It's going to be difficult for these drivers, but it can throw up some chaos for us. It's a track that can lead to some crashes happening, into some safety cars getting called. So we could be on for a bit of a wild night tonight, but they are using my less favoured final chicane on this track. I much prefer the WEC layout, which has the more flowing chicane at the end of the circuit.
Look, track temperature might be, it looks pretty good for the cars out there tonight. 21 degrees on track, I think, or 20 degrees on track now, so that's almost perfect hot lapping conditions. By now, these guys have put 2 hours practice, so there'll be plenty of rubber out there, so we should see some fast times tonight. At the moment, in the practice, they were hitting, I think, a 1:47 for the Grandpa Gowans. We'll have to see if that's a mark or if there was an off-track in that, but plenty of the guys sitting in the 48s at the moment, and 30 cars plus out on the grid, so it should be an awesome night of racing.
Yeah, we're already obviously beating records in these new cars across the tracks we've been to previously in the old F3. So it's proven that these things are faster and drivers are starting to get to grips with them. They're starting to fall in love with them like they did for the F3. I'm super excited. It's been a great season so far. Obviously, Cowie over the first 2 rounds out at Portimao Indy Road Course. But I think tonight's race, it's going to be a special one. As I mentioned, this is a Grand Prix classic track. We've really started with 3 tracks that have suited a Grand Prix style of car at one point or another. But the Nürburgring, for some reason, it always feels so nice to go driving around here in open wheelers. For safety cars, though, Cowie, you know, it's a little bit more open, but it can lead to a bit of chaos. Do we reckon we're going to see any here tonight?
Oh, it's a 60-minute race, so 7 on a sprint. I get the feeling we're going to see a couple tonight. As you said, there is quite a bit of flow areas, but we've also seen that, you know, these cars, you can't really drive them broken, so you're going to have to fix it straight away. The question is, can you get back home? So I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's going to be 2 tonight.
I'm going to go big or go home, Cowie. I reckon we're going to get 3 safety cars in the span of an hour. Yep. I reckon, we got 30-odd cars out there. Nurburgring's, it can be a wild and wacky race. It's either going to be we're going to get, a good amount, 2 or 3, or we're going to get none. So I hope we're both on the right side of history by what we're calling tonight. I hope we do get a couple.
I was going to say that. It's good to hear you finally coming around to my way of thinking here. It's, bin it or go home, right?
I could have said 1, but I thought, no, you know what? We're going to go the opposite end of the spectrum. We're going to test how good I am at actually predicting safety cars. And if it happens, I look like an absolute genius. If it doesn't, I'm not worse off for it either. So,
well, going through my info here, buddy, Jackie Stewart did refer to this track as the Green Hell. So that does have an ominous sort of a ring to it.
He said that about the Nordschleife, which is, as you mentioned, another 160-odd corners off the end of this one. But I think the Grand Prix circuit can also lend some chaos in itself as well. There's a feeling about this place. It brings an electricity no matter what you're driving, whether it's strictly the Nordschleife or it's the Grand Prix or it's the combined. There is something special about going racing out in the Rhineland, out at Nürburgring, and no matter what layout it is, you find a little bit of magic and a little bit of chaos about it as well.
Well, you do know that there's a special club that you there's only one way of becoming a member of out here, don't you? It's more for the Nordschleife, of course.
By hitting the wall.
It's called the Bongard Club. Right?
Yep.
And it just so happened that Bongard is the name of the recovery vehicles company out there. So yes, if you're a member of the Bongard Club, it means you binned it on the Nordschleife.
Well, hopefully we don't have too many drivers binning it here tonight. Hopefully they go from zeros to heroes out at the Nürburgring. Of course, qualifying getting underway now. 15 minutes of qualifying. 2 nights in a row, Cowie, that the qualifying is not going to just end right on the 15. Drivers are going to have the opportunity to finish their laps as of the end of the 15 minutes.
There.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
Who was that? Was that Caldwell off the track there? I think
it might have been Mr. Caldwell.
Saying what? Let's go blackout OPR, and Greg Barber, let's go race control. Yes, let's go indeed race control.
Big shout out to race control. Hopefully they can cut some laps tonight instead of just having to sit there and deal with the chaos. But I mean, speaking of Keegan, he has garnered a bit of a nickname from some people in the chat as Crashkin Blockwell. He gained that from Friday night's IMSA race. So we'll see if it comes to fruition again tonight, or if he can rise up through the ranks and get another impressive finish out of the amateur class. So looking at Dylan DeBono, this guy's been so impressive lately, hasn't he, in these cars? He's been one of the drivers of the season so far across the first 2 rounds. Been a little bit unlucky last week with a mistake made in the dying embers of that feature race, but man, he's looking like a championship contender right now, and he could be the one to raise that trophy at the end of the season right now.
Well, that's the way the guy drives. He drives hard, and every now and again it will throw up those little mistakes that maybe cost him the victories, but it's that pace that keeps putting him at the front. At the moment, he has a 3-point lead on the championship. It is only early days, but Gallo was in the lead after round 1. DeBono's pipped him now. Gowan's is a further 23 points back, and Kanitska is sitting level with him. So it's pretty close there. And remember, Kanitska also became the 27th victor in a different race winner. Sorry, I think that's across all of the F3s. So we've had 27 different winners in our races. Been going for it's been 2 years now, I think. So and just great to see that we've still got 30 plus cars out there on the track all having a crack.
Do we think we may see a 28th winner here tonight, as there's another car that goes off in the background there? Is you're right on board with Dylan DeBono. Do we think we're going to get a 28th winner here tonight, Kelly? Maybe a Brandon Grosh, maybe a Dwayne Burns even rise up the ranks.
I see what you mean by the chicane. I don't think I agree with you going for the second one. There's a faster run through there. Look, I think in these longer races, the experience and pace comes to the fore. These guys get into a rhythm, so I really think it's down to a DeBono or a Gallo. Byrne, is he out there tonight? I haven't seen his name out
there. Daniel Byrne.
Yeah, I can't see him out there. So
not on the list, so...
Yeah. Well, it is not a F1 shadow round, so we know that Daniel has his eyes on the really big prize of the Shadow F1 series. So maybe he's decided to take a week off, but looks like it is just David Gallo flying the colours tonight.
Yeah, there's Sol Carlin's motorsport driver on track. Well, Dylan De Bono, already a first sector purple here on his second run. He's looking to challenge that pole position straight away from David Gallo. Current pole time that has been set by Mr. Gallo is a 1:48.94. Rounded up, of course, but it is a 1:48.936 is the specific time. It's early doors. I mean, I think we're going to get into the 47s based off the practice times. On debut tonight as well, Cowie, as well, I just want to mention, Jordan Ferguson on debut was sitting pole position for the Pro-Ams, but Sean Benici, the American, has just pipped him there. A bit of an international flavour with those two. American Sean Benici, the Englishman Jordan Ferguson, topping the Pro-Am times at the moment.
Yeah, both guys new to the series. Again, one of the things that Race Control will do here is sort of round 3. So after this round, that's where they will sort of assess where the newcomers come in. Most of them are put straight into the Pro division, unless we know a little bit more about them, of course. But, with Benici in the Pro-Ams, Ferguson, I think that Race Control's already made an assessment on these guys. So we'll have to see how they go, racing with their peers tonight.
We'll see how they line up together, of course, in terms of the rest of the order, as Dougie Gowans goes provisional pole position, pipping his teammate Dylan De Bono there to get a 1:48.8 on that last time. But Dwayne Burns, I mentioned him, Cowie, could be on here. I said he could be the next winner of this series. Goes a 1:48.83 to go provisional pole position. So, I mean, I wasn't too far off the prediction mark for Mr. Burns there. I mean, we've had a Burn win a race before. Maybe we'll see a Burns win a race here tonight.
Certainly is in the realm of possibility. We got, I suppose, the one big name of Daniel Byrne missing tonight, so that does mean one less of those front runners to battle against. But as I said, look, 60-minute race, it's all going to come down to rhythm, and one of the things you'll find is the Burns, the Gowans, the De Bonos, the Gallos, all of those guys, they get into a rhythm, and the pace just seems to, come out of them. And it's one of those things, when De Bono's in flight, and he's driving fast and hard, those lap times will come flying down.
Well, he's already on another first sector purple, second sector orange, third sector personal best with the green sector there as he comes through to end out the fourth sector up into the final. We'll see what the time looks like here. On the way to the checkered flag goes purple in the fourth, but he's pipped by his teammate Doug Gowans, who currently has the toe off De Bono. So De Bono's actually kind of pulling Dougie up the order a little bit here tonight as they come around the final quarter now. Such a tough corner, this one. Long right-hander, slow pace, easy to run it wide, but you've got to be ultra smooth on that throttle input on the way through. De Bono goes fastest in the last sector. Betters his time to go 1:48.42. Gowans goes P2 with a 1:48.54. It's looking like a Velocity SimLabs lockout here for qualifying if no one else can challenge him at this point in time.
Did see quite a lot of names in the 48s in that practice run. So I think there's quite a bit of the field that's got a good lap in them. It's just all about putting it together. One of the other things that practice can maybe throw out is that this is a fixed setup series. They're all on the high downforce setup, I believe, tonight. And that means they go out with 25.5 litres in the car. So, you've got to burn that off. So the idea being, if the temperatures stay low like they look at the moment, those times should start to come down as you see these guys burn off the fuel. They maybe come in and grab some tyres. Again, as Hamish said, this is one of those sessions because it's an hour race. You can qualify past the 15 minutes, not going to cut off, as long as you start that lap before the checkered flag drops for the session.
One stat I've just remembered as well, Cowie, is this season, across the first 2 rounds, we have had a first-time winner win at least one of those races. So the first round we had Alan Dawson, that was his first win. Last week we had Marcus Konitska, who won his first race. So
talking it up. I hear you. I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I just see these longer races as where you see that experience and consistency come to the fore. So you know, I suppose there is a chance that the Bonos and the quick guys make a little mistake that opens the door, but just see, once these guys get into a rhythm, they just find an extra yard of pace.
Well, we can see here Doug Gowans has now gone P2 above David Gallo. It reads on our data that they've got the same time, but in fact, Gallo is within the thousandths slower. He's plus, I think it's 1 point.
4,000.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous. So
48.518 for
sorry.
Gallo and 48.522 for Gallo.
Yeah, so it's absolutely nothing between them at the moment. Barely anything in their times.
Almost a coat of paint.
Well, saying this though, Gallo's getting these times without a toe. The grandpa's getting a toe off Dylan De Bono. So imagine if Gallo had that toe, he could be ripping up the timesheets and sitting in pole position, but that just shows the true pace that he has in this car around this track. But I mean, De Bono's the one with the proper pace at the moment. He's got no toe. He's leading another car around. He still sits top of the timing tower with a 148.3.
Interesting to see if these guys switch as they come into the end here, but looks like they're staying out on the tyres. Yep, so here comes the switch, and so now De Bono will get a lap or two of a tow from his teammate, and we'll see what his pace with a little bit of wind assistance.
As it currently stands, of course, De Bono sits pole position. Gerard's P1 for the Pro-Ams and P5 on the road. Then Caldwell is P1 for the amateurs, P11 on the road at the moment.
We haven't talked about Gerard. He's been on the pace the first few rounds, so to see if his Pro-Am status is in jeopardy.
Well, I have spoken to Hutto, and new entries are not going to be, it's not going to be subject to just new entries as Gowans goes to the top of the timing tower. There'll be existing drivers who the admins will reconsider where they're currently seated, and they'll look at it and they'll think, well, you know what, Gerard is a cut above the rest of the Pro-Ams at the moment. He probably should be in Pro. You then look at Caldwell and Schmalenberg. Now, they've got good lap times in them, but they still struggle consistency in a race. So arguably, Am and Pro-Am, you're a Pro-Am based on how much more consistent you are than just your straight up pace in a one lap scenario. But we know some of those amateurs can pull out some ripper qualifying times, but again, they just lack in the consistency during a race. So, it's a tough job for sure, and it'll be super, super tough to try and figure out those seatings, as not everyone is as clear cut as everyone else around them.
Like I said, I've been sitting on the bubble for a long time, and then I get all these young punks that come through, and way quicker than me. But these things happen. Been dealing with it, I think, half my life, playing cricket with young guys and and all that, and then you watch them make it to the first grade team. You see there Dougie getting out of the way, just giving a good slingshot for Dylan for about half of that lap, but maybe Dylan just getting a bit close there, and would affect the aero if he kept the toe any longer. But yeah, those looking good, that machine again. Another one of the Velocity Sim Lab boys that is that a Velocity Sim Lab?
That was I swapped over to Shy. I was going to talk about
it,
but then you started talking about Matty, and I'm like, well, we've got to go back to Matty then. But he's looking good at the moment, and he is looking to be outperforming Pro-Am status right now. I mean, he probably would have won Pro-Am last season if he didn't miss so many rounds, and he would have been a real challenger with Andrew Johnston. So, he was in the top 10 of the championship. You kind of have to then say, well, if you're top 10, you're likely going to be pro. If you're between 11th and, say, 25th, then you could argue, well, yeah, you're probably a Pro-Am. And then underneath that, you're in the amateurs. But again, though, it's hard to seed them that way because not everyone shows up every week. And you get some fluctuations of, well, you'll get some amateurs who finish higher up the order than the rest of the field because they show up every week and they get consistent points. So
what's also one of the things you see is it can have to do with how popular the track is. Is it a track that a lot of different series have run? Is it fairly new? So you'll get drivers that don't own all the tracks, but also don't have the time to practice. I think there's a lot of GT3 drivers that in Australia that will drive Bathurst every time it comes up on the GT3 calendar, but maybe don't touch it apart from that. So you can see that advantage, and we see it week to week where you've got an outlier driver who suddenly shines. Well, he's put in a bit of extra practice this week, or it's a track that really suits his style, and and he's put in a bit of effort because he enjoys driving it. In the end, we're going to put it down to that. If you love driving a place, you'll spend more time there.
Dylan De Bono right now is on for a mega run to the line, Cowie. 2 purples, 2 oranges at the moment. This could send him straight to the top of the timing tower as he's about to start his final run here in qualifying with only seconds left to start a new lap before the 15 minutes is up. He crosses the line. He goes P1 with a 148.11, pipping his teammate by 1/10 of a second as he starts his final run in qualifying now out behind the blackout OPR car, I believe, of Callan Hodgkinson up the road from him at the moment.
Gets out of the way, Callan does.
No, he's pulled out of the lap.
Abandoned it as well.
As Marcus Knitzer comes on through, winner last time out at Indianapolis. Let's see what this lap looks like for him when he crosses the line. 3 oranges and a green as he comes around to finish off his qualifying. Is it going to be anything better than what he's currently set? I don't know if it's going to be good enough as he comes down to cross the line here at Nurburgring. Doesn't appear to go any better.
Yeah. I think he actually went a bit too wide there and picked up an off track on the last corner, which is a risk here at the Nurburgring. But, that tight chicane there, it's definitely going to bunch guys up, and I think we're seeing most of the drivers have completed their runs. Sam Noble staying out on track. Mitch Noble, I should say. He's got 3 green sectors, so looking to improve his time. Currently sitting at P23, so they're hoping this run can get him up inside the top 20.
Doug Gowans as well is on for a lap at the moment, fastest in the first sector for the session. But he's not gone any quicker in the second and third. Noble comes around the final corner. He's going to finish off his final lap here in qualifying. Is it going to do him any better when he crosses the line? It's bettered his time, but it's not bettered his position on the road. As he now looks at Doug Gowans, who could be the last challenger to that pole position of Dylan De Bono. As he comes around the final corner, do you think maybe he just backs out of it at some point? Just thinks, hey, Dylan can have the pole position. I'm happy to start next to him on the road.
I don't think it really matters for these guys. Pole is a little bit of a talking point in the team, but Doug's unable to do it. He finishes a 10th behind Dylan there, so close battle, but the Velocity Semblad boys locking out the front row.
Yeah, they will be hoping to be a wall to the cars in behind them. Top 4 cars on the road, all their first names start with D. So there seems to be some favoritism for this car and drivers whose first name starts with D. I mean, Daniel Byrne, Dylan De Bono, Doug Gowans, David Gallo. Daniel Byrne not here tonight, Dwayne Burns as well. Maybe that's the secret to being fast in these cars.
Change your name.
Exactly. Change your name so it starts with D. That's when we'll start getting guys like Darkus Knitska and Dathu Gerard on track trying to win races.
Well, Andrew's been referred to as Drew from time to time, so still doesn't help me, though.
And Drew Cowan. Then you just sound like an early 2000s TV presenter.
That's it.
Ditch Doble, there you go. That's another one from Mitch Muller in the chat as we get ready to grid up now for tonight's race. This will be our starting grid for round number 3 out at the Nürburgring. It'll be a Velocity SimLab front row lockout for Dylan De Bono and Doug Gowans. They'll start ahead of David Gallo and Dwayne Burns on the second row. Matty Gerard will then start P1 for the Pro-Ams, P5 on the road, with Marcus Knitska alongside. Brendan Grotch and Alan Dawson will then start in behind them with Dave Roberts and Shai Kinzel-Philo making up the top 10. Benjamin Brook will then start alongside P1 for the amateurs, Keegan Caldwell out of P12 on the road here tonight. We'll see if the consistency can become a positive here for Mr. Caldwell. Sam Katakazinos and Jordan Ferguson will then start alongside each other ahead of Timothy Schmalenberg and Sean Benici, with Kevin O'Neill and Dean Singovich lining up on the 9th row of the grid here tonight. Matt Tessier and Josh King will then make up the top 20 with Nathan Verney and Nick Schmalenberg in behind, with Mitch Noble and Callum Rosanita starting just outside the top 22 cars on the road. Callan Hodgkinson and Martin Walker will then start alongside, with Kevin Wakefield and Greg Johnson in behind. Adam Hughes and Greg Barber, our racing controllers here tonight, with Greg Leake in the safety car. Tyler Sheep, Jake Edwards, Scott Pocock, Danny Matisic unable to set a time in qualifying, but I do believe some of them may have rear-of-grid penalties leading into this race.
Yeah, found out all about that myself. Got missed for round 2 and I had to serve one last night. But, again, an hour race here, so I don't think that's going to worry the guys too much. It's going to be all about getting a clean start, get the tyres up to temp, and settle into your race. As far as the race goes, we are looking at maybe 33, 34 laps if it stays green. Pit window lap 10 to 16. One of the things about this car, because they're limited to 25 litres on the line, but they can put in 37, we might see some guys go a bit early and run a big long stint of, 22, 23 laps. Be interesting to see if tyres are on the menu as well. Being a 60-minute race, I think we might see a few of these drivers take tyres. The other thing, if it does stay green, Hamish, it might be, you might need a splash and dash to get home. But we've predicted a heap of safety cars, so I think both of us aren't thinking along those lines at all.
I think if there's an early safety car, it'll be very prudent for drivers to come in, just top up the car with fuel, cut down the stop time later in the race here tonight, of course, for what would be a regular stop. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, the rule is generally you hold position if you've got it, but if you're near the back, you'd certainly take advantage of that. All right, Bo, looks like we're getting ready for round 3 of the Shannon's Formula 3 Nationals here at the Nurburgring. Close up of the Velocity Sim Lab guys on the line as we wait for the lights. I'll let you take it away, Hamish.
So let's get ready to go racing, ladies and gentlemen, out at the Nurburgring, of course, round number 3. Lights are going to go up. DeBono on pole ahead of Gowans. Who's going to get the jump down towards turn 1? Could we see any early chaos? Lights are going. Let's go racing. There's a good start there from both DeBono and Gowans as the top 3 make their run away. It was a horrible start, though, from Dwayne Burns, who's already dropped out of the top 4 down towards turn 1 for the first time.
Gowans and DeBono both leaving each other room, but you can see Gallo taking advantage of that as he's looking to sweep up around the outside there. Will be on the inside for the next corner, so he should get this done against Gallo. You can see Konitska there having a little look up the inside as well. So the front runner's already making a few moves. Sam Gerard down 1, Konitska's up 2 with a great start. Callum Rossini down the back, he's up a couple. Tilly Schmalenberg and Sean Benici also up a couple at this point in time. So plenty of movement happening as the field comes around to the back section of the track.
Timothy Schmalenberg's already taken the lead for the amateurs a bit further back in the field. And Matty Gerard, as you mentioned, dropping 1 spot. Catacasinos up 4. So he's starting to etch closer and closer to the front of that Pro-Am field as there's already a battle happening for P2 on the road with Gallo and Gowans battling this out as DeBono leads the way up in through the Michael Schumacher S's into the back stadium section of this track. And they're all over the road at the moment as they come into the hard braking zone.
There's a big toe down that second straight there. You can see the field bunch up as they all got a little bit of an advantage there. Looking at Brandon Gotch, he's dropped down, but now we're seeing Dave Roberts tumble down the order. So something has happened there. There he is. He's gone right to the back of the field, unfortunately. We'll have to have a look at that and see what happens. But at the moment, there's plenty of movement as everyone jostles around the track.
This is on board with Dave as he came through just a big tank slapper.
Yep, it wasn't even that. I think just cold tyres and pushed it a little bit too hard, and that's cost him about 25 positions, so that hurts.
We also missed this one during the replay. Dwayne Burns trying to go for the move on Konitska. Konitska defending hard down the inside, as he's welcome to do. Gerard on the outside tried to come into the corner.
Oh, no.
Konitska just spun it round. Burns had to pull it up. He's now dropped a couple of spots off the back of that one as well.
Oh, cost him more than a couple there. I think it cost him about 8 or 9 Burns, or 7 spots. Oh, he's down 12 spots. That's Robert, sorry.
And there's Sheafy as well. He spun round down at turn 1, so it's all starting to go off early here, Cowie. One thing as well I just want to mention to the chat out there, we have got the race control on the broadcast now as well. We're testing it out. If, let us know how the volumes are whenever you hear them come over the broadcast. Just so then, it's a little bit more like an actual broadcast, isn't it, Kerry? Where you hear race control come over, calling a safety car, calling the result of an incident as well. We will still try and have the text on screen, but it's just going to help us, bring a bit more real-world feel to it as well.
I'm glad you reminded me so I don't talk over the top of him. But at the moment, it is DeBono, Gallo, Gowan, Sig Gowan. See that toe? A big effective toe, and they're battling hard. This is lap 2. It's not lap 32. And already these guys pushing Harm Gerard up into 4th with Knitska going back there. Sam Katakasinas up 7 spots running in P6 at the moment. He's had a blinder of a start. Dawson's also up 3 as well. Philo, Brooke, Caldwell up 3. Schmalenberg up 5, so he's having a cracker. Though it looks like Burns maybe just got past him then. And it's compromised his run a little, so Grotch, who sort of fell down a bit there at lap 1, now just trying to find his feet and get back into the rhythm of this race.
Come on now to the start of lap number 3 here tonight. 3 minutes 50 odd seconds into proceedings. Grotch down 5 spots in this race. Dwayne Burns, we mentioned, down 6 after getting caught up in behind Marcus Knitska's little spin.
Big slide from Schmalenberg there, but he kept it well and hung on to it, but that can't help the tyres. Little blink as well.
Yeah, needs to be cautious of that one, as Mitch Noble's had an incident in the background, which I can only assume is down at turn 1. What's happened to him here? Why is he dropping spots for?
Going in too hot.
Yeah, it looks like possibly he has.
He's just tried to carry a lot, just the
Yeah.
I think that was the curb there that cost him.
Well, very
He's
lucky
done
not
well
to
to
get
hold his
collected
break.
by his teammate there as he came through.
He's done well there to hold brakes. Again, one of the big rules. Good avoiding there from Joshua King.
Unfortunately, he then got caught up in his own incident at the next corner.
Oh,
so
no.
They're doing their best to replicate Sinker being on track in that car, but I don't know if they could ever recreate the magic, though, of the king of the spin, as Grotch continues to try and make moves. Caldwell's getting absolutely swamped at the moment by Brooke and Burns in behind. We'll see here if he gets eaten alive early on by these boys, but they are all over him at the moment.
Well, this track is very much a track of rhythm and line and flow. So, you know, when you got a car up the inside, you see he's battling hard here, Caldwell. He's not giving up, trying to go around the outside, have the inside for the chicane. That's a great recovery there to hang on to that. He has opened the door for Burns on Brooke, who will get it done. And Schmalenberg there having a bit of a sniff as well. This is awesome stuff.
Where has Caldwell pulled that out of the bag from? That was a sensational
Getting out of the toe
move
there as well.
That was fantastic from young Caldwell.
Just good battling, and again, I mean, we're seeing here that contact
Burns.
there. I think they just got clipped a little bit. That's a great recovery there. It's cost him about 6 or 7 positions. Brooke, I wonder if that's any damage as a part of that, or again, one of the things that you don't think about unless you're a racer or even a sim racer or in real life is, once you have a little moment, the tyres suddenly get heated right up, and if you try to take the next corner like you normally would, the tyres have got too much temperature in them. They've got no grip. So you've just got to back it up for the next 3 or 4 corners, let them settle back down before you can push again. I think that's maybe what happened there.
Look at this, top 6 cars on the road, separated by less than 2 seconds at the moment, Cowie. These guys are in an intensifying battle together as Gallo's all over the back of DeBono, but there's been a big incident with Hodgkinson and Schmalenberg in the background. Let's check out what's happened to them. Oh, this could be a big one. We see them, they're almost wheel to wheel here, coming down into the tight hairpin. Oh, just a big old send. And that spun miss. Very lucky, though, not to lose at wing. And unfortunately, I believe that was Kevin Wakefield gets caught up in it as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't ready for them to be right in the middle of the road there.
Might have avoided a serious damage there, Kevin, but yeah, unlucky for him. Sometimes you just got nowhere to go. And at the moment, up the front, Gallo is right on the tails of DeBono, getting a big slingshot here. So head down into T1. Both of them just jockeying early on, so I mean, as I said, you'd think that this would be a sprint race the way these guys are driving, but we're not even inside the first 10 minutes of a 60-minute race.
Yeah, they are not giving up anything. They are racing for quids at the moment, as DeBono somehow holds on to the lead from a hard-charging David Gallo, of course, defending champion of this series. Won his first title in Season 1 in the last season of the Dallara Formula 3 era of the Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals here on SRWtv, as Gallo's now all over the back of De Bono. He's not giving anything up at the moment, Cowie. This is some great racing and a really good example of why Nurburgring it is exceptional to watch some racing here in open wheelers, no matter what they are. I reckon you could put F4s around here and they'll be racing like this as well.
Well, when you think cars, like, I mean, one of the things the guys said about this car, it's a little bit less grunt down the straight than the F3, but it's much better handling. But what that little bit less grunt means is it means when you get in a tow, that tow becomes so powerful. And what it's doing here is it's really not giving De Bono a chance to skip away. I think, you know, if there's a moment and someone here gets a little gap of a couple of seconds, then they will be able to keep that gap. While you're in this tow, everyone is sort of lapping around the sort of mid 149s at the moment, and you know, it's a strong racing. We'll see that. I think a lot of these guys are going to settle in. I don't think they'll fight too hard for position this early in the race. It's all about making sure you stay with this pack.
Tyler Sheaf's had an incident down towards turn 1. I hadn't seen him come back on track. I just want to check this out if it's a bit of a slow spin. Yeah, it appears it was. I thought it might have been worse possibly than what it entailed. It would be nice if SDK had the wherewithal to tell us he's had a spin or he's had a crash compared to just an incident.
I think you just talked over race control there, buddy.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
They did have something to say.
I can't hear them in my ear. They come through a separate speaker, so...
Oh, well, you're going to have to work our way around that.
Yeah, I know.
So Nicholas Schmalenberg black flagged for contact on lap 4. So unfortunately, his run at the head of the AMS is going to take a big dive.
I know, that's Timothy Schmalenberg is leading. Nick Schmalenberg is now coming in towards the back of the field. There we can see it confirmed by race control.
Serving his penalty now. Unfortunately, in the wars tonight, we'll be hoping that our call for quite a few safety cars to get him back in the fight. But here is that fight up front, and it is De Bono still hanging on to the lead over Gallo and Gowans, Gerard and Catakazinas. Well, he's just skipped. No, he's not that far off the back, but you can see Dawson almost getting ready to join this hunt. Again, one of the things we see, the moment you get cars together fighting on track, that's going to slow them up, and the pack just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's what we love to see here at SRWtv.
How's the view from Catakazinas' car? He has the golden ticket right now, front row seat to a top 4 battle that is starting to pressurize, starting to get a bit of electricity about it, and well, it's almost like a ticking time bomb. We're waiting for it to blow up in some way, but these guys are just, they're in their rhythm, they're in line, but the battle is surely going to continue far on into this race and may just start to continue to build that pressure towards the final sort of stint and see if it does eventually lead to maybe a sneaky position gain for Catakazinos here.
Well, as you said, he's in the box seat. He's driving the car close to the edge there. You can see a little slide. At the moment, Dawson and Philo a second a little bit behind, but Dawson looks like he's getting onto the back of this train. Philo with a little bit more work, but you can see that those guys are doing sort of 49 5s, 49 4s. The guys in front are doing 49 6s. So it's just those couple of tenths gives them a chance to catch up. And again, you know, at the moment, I think we're just seeing drivers settling in, knowing that it's an hour race, so they're really not risking anything early on, but they're staying close enough that if someone makes a mistake, they're ready to pounce.
A bit further back in the field, we have got a battle happening here with Brook and Sinkovic. Brook has just gotten the move done on Sinker to get up into P18 on the road. A bit further back, we have Noble here following his teammate Josh King. So these guys hoping to start to work together, build their way through the field as well. And then up here we've got Jordan Ferguson beginning to battle it out with Sean Bonici in behind him. So a battle of across the pond, even though one of them is actually based in Australia and one of them is based where they actually come from in the US, but they are still battling it out nice and hard here for P3 on the Pro-Am podium at the moment, P11 on the road.
Well, at the moment, it's a good little battle here. Ferguson, Benici, and we've got Tessuero, Vernie, and Neil and Rosanita back there also having their own little battle. But again, early on, it does look like the field has settled down. They've got into their rhythm now. No one's looking to do anything too outlandish apart from Vernie's paint job. But, you know, just sort of settling into things and, you know, it's not so much you're waiting for a mistake, but the idea is you get locked into your own battle and you do what you can. So if the guy in front is, you know, a little bit slower than you, then maybe you start to just try and pressure him in a few areas, stay on his bumper. If he's a bit quicker than you, then you're trying to make sure you stay right in that toe and maximise, you know, your chances of sort of staying with him. But again, it's all about just getting into your rhythm, driving, and you know, and not second guessing anything.
We have got Hutto in the chat saying Khan JWM, shout out to the Schmalen Bombers. Well, one of them's already copped a penalty here tonight. Hopefully the other one doesn't cop one either. In behind this battle, though, we have got one intensifying with Tessuero, Vernie, O'Neill, Rosanita and Roberts involved as well. He's making up the back of this battle, trying to come back from his early spin on lap 1 at the entry into the 4th sector. Sorry, the exit of the 4th sector, I should say.
Already putting the pressure on Rosanita just with a little bit extra pace. And, you know, again, it's so one of those things you settle into a rhythm, but I'm sure Rosanita is not going to fight this one too hard. You see, oh, he is holding an inside line there, but Roberts is going to get that job done fairly convincingly as they come up to the chicane.
That was a nice move there from Roberts down the inside. No, he looks to be all over the back. That is a...
Oh, no.
I can never
looks
get
like
rid
we've
of that.
lost. We've lost Brendan Gotch. By the looks, he's had a packet loss. His connection is played up and we've lost him. That's unfortunate. He has come back into the server, but it has put him 2 laps down. So another guy who will be hoping for a safety car. And Vernie having a little bit of a look up the inside here. Pam, so that's Neil also on the sniff there. So, and you can see just this moment you try to make a little move, suddenly, you know, you put yourself at the mercy of the guys behind you. And that's what makes for exciting racing around a track like the Nurburgring.
This is a wild looking car, isn't it? I was just looking at it and I was transfixed by how it looks under certain lighting.
Well, I was going to say, did you see the, was that, the RBs at Miami on the weekend? They, you know, got sort of one of the mock cars, I think spray painted by your local street artists, and sort of have that sort of vibe on it, and then unveiled their fancy livery. I remember it was supposed to be Ferrari's livery weekend, and all they had is a couple of little bits of blue on the car. I think they missed their chance there.
It would have been interesting if they changed to blue, but I think there is actually a clause that they must run a predominantly red car in Formula 1. Mitch Noble's had an incident in the background. He's had a couple little moments here in the span of a couple of seconds. So he was following in behind Kevin Wakefield down towards turn 1. Went for a big move, locked it up, managed to catch it, went off track, and then ended up in the sand and just into the wall. One of the slowest hits into a wall. One of the slowest hits we've seen into the wall into a long time, Cowie. So,
it's one of those things. You know, especially when you drop some time early on, then you start pushing hard, trying to find everything you can back, and it puts you right on the edge of the limit sometimes. And you know, as we said before, you know, you make a mistake and then you push hard to rectify it. But if you push hard too early, those tyres are still cooked and can, you know, easily create another mistake. But no safety car. We're 17 minutes into this motor race. 3 safety cars you called there. Looks like the skies are staying predominantly clear. Track temperature still fairly low at 22, so it's ideal racing conditions for these guys. But no signs of the weather gods. So Zach Keegan Caldwell's had a bit of a moment there. He's caught it, but that's cost him a couple of positions.
He's now separating Ferguson and Benici here. He was on the back of Dwayne Burns. Oh, and he's big curb, big old slide. And manages to pull it up off the track. Needs to be careful of rejoin. Of course, oh, and he nearly took out Nearly took out Kevin Wakefield in the proceedings. Very, very lucky there to not get caught up in that one, as Mitch Noble's had another spin round a bit further back. But this is starting to heat up here in the minors for Pro-Am and Amateur right now, Cowie.
We're seeing them drivers start to push, so, you know, they're getting more and more confident, and that maybe also means they could push a little hard, going too wide through the chicane here. Oh, that was net code, unfortunately. I think there for Caldwell, but that's going to cost him, and hopefully it didn't damage the car, but that looked like there was a gap between those guys there.
Yeah, we'll just have another look at it here. On board with Jordan Ferguson up through the chicane. So Caldwell's tried to force the issue down the inside. He's then gone middle of the track. Yeah, that looks like net code on the initial contact, but...
Well, we'll see what race control's got to say about it. Knitska, is that Knitska requesting a tow?
It was indeed.
Happened?
So...
Well, we talk about safety cars.
This is what's happened to Marcus Knitska, following him behind Benjamin Brook. Round the final corner they came. Oh, Ben Brook was just off there, and then that's put him into the wall. And that is how fast it can happen, Cowie. Just a little moment. We know the pressure was starting to build, and all of a sudden it gets to its breaking point.
I think you're going to have to try and work out a way where you can hear when race control talk there, because you're drowning him out if we're trying to give the viewers that insight, but it has called a safety car, so we will not get through a clean race tonight. What this will do is likely open up the or confirm that this strategy, you know, will stay as a one-stopper. The question is, 11 laps in, 20 minutes in, I think you're going to see pretty much the entire field coming in here and take advantage of this opportunity, because this will get them enough fuel to get home. Remember, as I said, they're limited to 25.5 to start the race, but the car can hold 37.5. So, you know, it could probably do 22 laps. We're lap 12 at the moment. We thought it'd go 33, 34 laps if it stayed green. It's now probably going to go 32 laps, so we're definitely in that window. So far, the top six pitting. Is anyone staying out at the moment? Philo is staying out.
Mitch Muller said RC needs to be a bit louder, boys. Thanks for letting us know, Mitch. Have adjusted the volumes now.
Number 155, you may tow.
And he's talking out.
Yep. Was that any better? Let us know in the chat. It's a working system. We're trying to get it all figured out here. But yeah, Kinzel Philo stays out off the back of a safety car. So very interesting play.
Well.
Yeah.
Burn as well. So this is... Look, these guys have still probably got another five laps maybe on these tyres, 4 or 5 laps. So it's an interesting ploy. Pretty much the entire field, other than these guys, has pitted.
443, copy, we'll have a look.
So, well, look, sometimes you got to roll the dice. I don't know if Chai was in that position where he needed to do this. Maybe didn't realise that you're in the window to get home. Perhaps it's right on the bubble too. But I think, you know, within a lap or two behind the safety car, that should open up the window for these guys. Already this race is now saying it's going to be 33 laps. And I wouldn't be surprised another lap behind the safety car will take at least probably 2 laps out of that.
Yeah, we really just need to wait and see if it is any better. And I think this is probably a bit of a misplay here from Try and Dwayne. They've missed the chance now to take that free pit stop under safety car. They're either going to have to do it under green or under another safety car. They're not going to be able to build up enough gap over those front runners who have gotten away with it, and they're now right up behind them. So it's tough. I don't really see any way of them being able to come back from this now without a big schmozzle happening with the guys in behind.
But even then, you're going to have everyone else stay out, and they're going to lose all that track position. I think you're right. They've sort of missed the boat there a little. But, you know, sometimes you make the bed, and that's what you got to sleep in it. So, Chai Philo and Dwayne Burns, they'll need to get away and scoot as far as they can, and hope maybe that there's some carnage later in the race to bring them back into it.
Hopefully they can at least stay up the front for a little while. We'll see, though, how quickly De Bono, Gallo, Gowans can maybe get past them. Maybe they're relying on those guys battling and they get to build themselves a bit of a gap. Maybe that's what they're relying on, but they're not going to be able to go for much longer under this initial tank of fuel. Remember, it's only going to get them about 15 laps or so, so they're going to have to come in pretty soon anyway, you know. So this might hurt them going forward. Big movers of this race, Cowie. There are a couple of drivers with +6 positions, but the biggest mover at the moment appears is Nathan Verney, who for drivers who've done pit stops here. Nathan Verney up 9 positions at the moment. Chai Kunzelfillo's up 9, but as said, he needs a pit stop, so he will lose those spots once he brings it in.
Schmalenberg and Benici up 6 as well. Sam Catacosinos also up 6. He's down 1 from where he was before. But again, as we said, the front 2 cars will need to pit probably within the next 4 or 5 laps. So it looks like we're going 1 more lap under the safety car. So already Race Labs is telling me it's going to be a 32 lap race now. So by the time this car gets around, I think we're going to be looking at a 30 lap race to finish. 18 laps, yeah, there's no chance of these guys being, you know, another stop required. I think they should make it home.
So, Cowie, I've just noticed you were talking over race control when they said something across the line. What were they saying? Were they saying we're going in this lap? And I've just done it myself.
There might have been a wave around. I think there might have been a wave around, or he's talking about a wave around.
I think the only one we can get is Brandon Grotch, who is not back out on track.
No.
Because Konitska caused the incident, so he shouldn't get a wave around. He's not even out on track at the moment. I think he may actually be out of this race.
Safety car will be in at the end of this lap.
As we'll just get more confirmation there from
Pit
Barbs.
exit is open.
Pit exit. Pit exit was closed.
Okay, I got you.
Now they've gone past it, open the pit exit up. I was lucky. Was it last night or the other night? I think it might have been got out just as the just before the the pit exit closed on me. I thought I'd got myself in trouble, but I managed to get through. Gotch had his game crash. We did not remember that, Sean. Sorry, you're right.
That right there is some exceptional work from Sean to get into the chat whilst he's driving around the circuit at the moment. Brad confirming pit exit was closed. What I think I might do is for future for the radio, I might actually get like my my Apple AirPods in one ear, and I'll have race control come through that output, so at least then I can hear it whilst I still chat to you, Cowie, my other headset. So that way we both know when they're talking, and I'm not just talking over them.
Well, one thing, I'm sitting here in my rig watching the race on my triples. One of the great things about the program we use, SDK, it allows me to slave my iRacing setup to Hamish's broadcast, so I'm watching exactly what he's watching. It does mean that I can listen in and hear race control and hear the drivers as well, which is great. But the main reason I love it is that I don't have to stuff around with my system.
Will be in at the end of this lap. Car number
for
115.
change anything from my racing.
Pulls away, maintain 90 kph. Safety car lights out. Safety car pull away from the field and return to pit lane.
Safety car with his instructions there. Last night was mega, Jamie. It certainly was, mate. That was a cracker battle. There was 6 or 7. Fitzy in the middle of that. Peter Pavlik was there. Yeah, look, it was great battles, man, and it's exactly what I want on track. And having to come through the field, it was great fun last night.
Yeah, you're having a good battle there with the old Pavlova in about the mid-pack of the field.
Jamie as well. I mean, he got me, and then I got back in front of him, and I was able to hold him up for a bit.
Safety car
I just pitted
early,
and my tyres died on me, and he ate me up at the end.
Control line.
But that's what we have here. Chai Filo will lead the field away. It's his call when to go. Burns behind him, but these guys both will need to pit, and pit pretty soon. He's gone early, and I'm sure DeBono, he'd be happy with this, getting a toe nice and early on. He'd be looking for the opportunity maybe to put a car or two between him and David Gallo, and maybe use this as an advantage to break free a little bit.
Well, he sends it down the inside, Cowie. Burns there at turn 1. Great little move, but great wherewithal though from Burns just to let him have it, knowing that he does need the pit stop pretty soon in this race, actually.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was going to give it up there for a moment. He was fighting it
Race
hard.
control to all teams. Black and white warning flag, car 399 for an unsafe rejoin on lap.
Oh, there's a big incident in the background there. Kevin O'Neill's in and hit the fence. A couple of drivers have had some incidents here. Mitch Noble was one of them. As we continue on, oh, this was on the safety car.
Black and
This
white
was Kevin
warning
O'Neill's
flag,
though,
all
just
unsafe
then
rejoin.
and there. He's come round with the Frog Leap Juice racing car of Sean Benici near him. And
He's just going hard.
He wasn't ready for Benici to slow up so much. And then Sinkovic as well was also caught out by a moment through the same corner.
Oh, he's just got on the gas tank slapper and tried to drive through it. It almost, the weight transfer there almost was perfect to set him up for a slingshot through there, but the problem was the car was still sliding. So, you know, it's sort of one of those things that can be difficult to catch, and already this is Burns making a move on Philo, a little bit of contact there maybe, and that is Gallo that's got spun in the process and fed back. That's cost him, what, 10 positions, I think?
Yeah, it could be even
And
more with
hopefully-
Vernier behind.
And if it's damage to that car, possibly too, but I think that was a reaction to what was happening in front of him, and I don't know if he made the mistake or he was avoiding someone else's.
You see, Philo pulled right up.
Yeah, car 78.
Through came, yeah, he wasn't ready to get pulled right up, and then he
Oh,
had,
he got tapped.
yeah, he got
Oh, he
tapped
got
by
tapped.
Dougie.
Doug Gowans, I think, got him in that check-up there. I don't know if there's anything in it for race control to adjudicate there, just a big concertina. But it's unfortunate for the Carlins Motorsports driver, because that's dropped him well down 10 positions from his starting.
See, De Bono just starting to break away alongside Burns in behind. We know that Burns though needs a pit stop, so does Kinzel Philo. This now puts Katakazinos in provisional P2 on the road at the moment.
This is what we said could happen. This is, you know, De Bono's best chance. I mean, when he saw Byrne and Philo out in front of him, he would have snipped a big opportunity there to stamp, you know, his foothold on the race and maybe get past them and jet free with a little bit of a gap, break that toe. And at the moment, Benici, he's in the middle of a hot battle here. Roberts right behind him, trying to recover from his incident at the start of the race, and looks like he's already going to get another move done back now up to his starting position, Roberts. So recovery done. Now he's got the rest of the race to look forward to.
Yeah, he just needs to try and make it up back through the order, of course. Halfway through the race tonight, Cowie, half an hour done and dusted. As Katakazinos has now lost the spot to his position, Gowans, but there could be a penalty coming Gowans' way based on the contact that we saw with David Gallo through that chicane at the end of the circuit. But we'll have to wait and see what race control say about it.
And I would love to keep chatting to you about last night's racing, Jamie. I'd probably get in trouble from Sinker for talking about the V8s on an F3 night. But yeah, no, I mean, it was a great night of racing, and we're seeing another great night here as jostling here. Gowans now on the back of, or was that Katakazinos, sorry, on the back of Gowans, Gerard Dawson, Schmalenberg, all behind this little train here as well. So is that up the inside? Is that
that's
Roberts trying to go up the inside of Schmalenberg? Couldn't get it done then, but has he thrown enough out? He's getting up along the inside with the big left-hander. I think he's going to get this done. He's also going to open the door for Benici, who thinks about it but then thinks better, as Gallo trying to recover behind him and back on the sniff. So
we'll see what he can get done here, though. Wants it down the inside of Benici. There's no way I'm going to be able to catch it like this.
I think it's just one of the drivers calling out an incident for them to have a look at. Callum Rossonid has had a moment up in SDK saying something's happened to him.
Yeah, what's happened to him here? He's in behind Tessio. Oh, he's caught some grass and just spun it around. Oh, needs to be careful to hold brakes, though. Oh, it does well.
Gets out of the line of fire and then rejoin back at pace. But again, you see one little mistake. When there's 30 cars and they're all bunched together after a restart, a little mistake doesn't just cost you one position, it costs you like 10.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's such a tightly contested field. We can see the intervals now. So many orange and yellows between drivers as Kinsel Filo and Gowan's coming. I believe Gowan's may have received a penalty for the contact.
I haven't seen anything up yet. Maybe he is redressing it himself. Oh, that was close there too.
Oh, Schmalenberg. Oh.
No, I think Gallo went way too deep then and stuck out, so I don't think that was Nick's Timothy's fault. I don't think. I think that was Gallo just really going hot, trying to fight his way through the field. You look at this. He's got a big slingshot, and he's just gone way too deep.
Yeah, but he can see him there. He's,
you know, drive through penalty
look at
it is close. It is close. Well, it is close. We'll have to see what race control's got to say about that. But he maybe could have given a little bit more room.
Don't get me wrong, it's a tough one.
Was being given a black flag for a safety car infringement. I think that maybe might have been the bump in the train there before a restart. So, unfortunately, Dean's going to have to do a little trip down the pit lane.
Yeah, he's unfortunately going to have to come on down. It's only going to make his night a little bit worse. See Ferguson all over Benici now. This battle's been continuing throughout the race. He's got Schmalenberg all over the back of him. But there's a bit of an asterisk there with what race control could say about the incident with Gallo. We're unsure. Gerard's now gotten past Catakazinos, so he's let his teammate through. And, well, out of the top 4 cars, there's 3 of them are velocity cars.
I think Philo's gone into the pit. He pitted last lap. Burns, I think, is still out on track.
He's now come in.
No, he has come in. So, yeah. Look, unfortunately, that roll of the dice is probably going to hurt them. Cho Philo is in 26th at the moment. And I think Burns going to find himself well down the pack as well as a result.
This now does is it makes the top 3 all Velocity SimLabs cars up the front of the field. Daniel Byrne in the chat just tuned in. Is it too late for me to jump on track? Looks like my teammate needs backup. Man, I reckon your teammate needs some boxing gloves in that car. He's getting the wars tonight as he's now brought it into the pits. He's brought it in, probably put a bit of a fast repair on it just to fix it up. And it's back out on track.
07 contact with lap 78.
Bono
with car
leads
78
the way.
on lap 14.
Okay, race control just handing out another penalty, and it is the grandpa Doug Gowans that has been penalised for that contact there. Unfortunately, that is going to hurt his result. It's a good thing that he's got some Velocity SimLab buddies out there to hold on to those spots near the top.
Yeah, he will...
Confirmed, that's been taken into account.
Race control, what are they saying?
Drive-through penalty.
Okay, so Doug was just questioning it being a concertina effect, and race control commenting there that has been taken into account, and he will have to serve his penalty. If he doesn't agree, that's fair enough. That's why we have a ticket system here with race control. You can put in a ticket and dispute the incident. And Doug, you know, again, I mean, he's a fair racer. He will just take the slap on the knuckles for it, but you know, I'm sure that the Velocity SimLab boys will be looking at that after the race, and they'll see if they think it's worthwhile putting in a ticket or not.
We're back up here to this battle inside the 10, of course. Benici leading this little battle pack of Schmalenberg and Verney and Tessuera in behind. They're trying to chase down Jordan Ferguson and Keegan Caldwell, who are up the order a little bit ahead of them. Biggest mover inside the top 10 is Sam Catakazinos, up 10 spots. And inside the 10, but the biggest gainer so far is our old mate Greg Johnson. He's up 14 spots tonight, Kerry. He's having a mega race as Burns sends it down the inside of Rosanita in behind into 1. And, well, there's action aplenty here tonight at the Nurburgring.
Yeah, I know. I was having a great chat with Greg last week, with Anzac Day last week. We were having a chat about our relatives and family that served in the wars, and I know he'd love to hear some more about my grandfather. Had some great stories. But you can see here that Burns rightly getting a big snip. I think Greg just got a little bit loose there, and that gave these boys a bit of a run. So maybe letting Burns through, but I'm sure he's going to fight tooth and nail to keep Rosanita behind him, because that is for class. And at the moment, it's P2 in the amateur class on track this battle.
No, this is P4. P2
P4.
is still Keegan Caldwell and Timothy Schmalenberg.
I couldn't see Caldwell on it. I knew. I could see Tessuero, and I thought he was leading. I did forget about Keegan, who's having a great run himself up inside the top 10 outright. So having a cracker.
Well, just quickly here, I noticed before that Caldwell actually dropped quite a few spots. It all started with a move from Jordan Ferguson as he tries to defend that position. Schmalenberg attacking him now. So Ferguson had come round. Where was Caldwell? How did he get past him? He had a bit of a moment. Yep,
yeah,
and
he caught it.
That'll explain why he dropped a heap of spots there down towards the back end of the top 10. But he's managed to keep the position over Schmalenberg.
Well, he got that job done then, I think, coming into the... He just switched as they were coming into the chicane. But you can see Schmalenberg back in the tow. Bernie running the inside line. So, again, look, I love when you can see the cars taking 2 or 3 different lines into a corner. You know, some of them are going deep and sort of staying on the inside trying to hold it there. Others are pulling it up early and turning sharp, trying to get on the gas hard. And this is where, you know, a great racetrack creates those different variables and situations. And you can see Tessuero there having a go at Schmalenberg. So this is M 1 2 3 on track, and they are battling super hard.
Oh no, it seems we may have commentators cursed Greg Johnston here. He was in a battle with Rosanita. They had Schmalenberg in behind. Oh, that's a big stack.
Bang. 3 wide into the chicane. I don't know how they thought that was going to happen. Is that a broken car? Can Greg move? He's got that car going again. Looks like he's still got a wing on it. I don't know how it survived, but that's got to be damaged goods, you would think. And Rosanita not even risking it. He's coming in to use his fast repair.
Yeah, so did Jono. He also brought it in as well off the back of that one too. But back to battle on hand that we were checking out. Caldwell leads to Schmalenberg. Tessuero, Vernie and Hodgson at the front of the field. It is still De Bono to Gerard, to Caddis Casinos, to Dawson to Roberts. That's the top 5. And then Ferguson, Benici, Caldwell, Schmalenberg, Tessuero make up the top 10. Now the top 3, Jordan, for... not Jordan. Cowie, because I was thinking of Jordan then for a second.
Oh, big dive there.
It's a big dive. Oh, that's super tight. Here comes Vernie. Oh, the pressure is starting to build here from this battle as Hodgson also sniffs the nose. Tessuero ran it wide and he spun around at the last corner. And all of a sudden he's dropped out of the 10.
There was no tail contact there with Schmalenberg. I think that's what unsettled his car. One of the things that we have seen is, you know, if you get it, you tap in the nose, like you tap the rear of the car in front, you'd think that that sends the car in front spinning. Now, if you hit him when he's dead straight, all it does is throw your car around. So, you know, it could...
6-4, start finish straight, lap 17, no further action.
Okay, race control, no further action on a previous incident. But yeah, look, that's not going to happen in racing. But this awesome AM battle that we were watching there for a moment just had its completely turned on its head. Though Schmalenberg still sort of hanging on to, but Caldwell able to skip about a second ahead in the middle of that. I think that's Hodgkinson maybe testing his car out, making sure it wasn't broken.
Quite possibly at this point in time, as Schmalenberg's got Hodgson all over the back of him. What I was going to say before that Holschmel's lap, and we had the top 3 from all 3 classes within the top 10. But now that's changed as the P3 for amateurs has now dropped out. As Hodgson's all over Schmalenberg. Oh!
Banging doors, these guys. That's not a supercar you're driving, gents. Not a GR86. It's a Formula 3 super light machine. Looks like these things can take a little bit more of a beating than the old F3s can, but still. Oh, look at this Jinkin and Jenga. They go 3 wide again at the chicane.
You see Schmalenberg in behind Hodgkinson.
Oh, as I was going to say, boys, you saw it didn't work last lap, and they went for it again this lap. But again, a couple of different lines round the last corner. And Schmalenberg picking up a big toe on Hodgkinson. These guys don't care what class they're in, they're just battling the next car on track.
They want to try and keep this fight going as Brooks dropping spots in the background. I believe he just ended up becoming, getting passed there by Burns. They're on the back of this battle here with Hodgkinson and Schmalenberg. See Nick Schmalenberg all over David Gallo. Gallo is just struggling here at the moment to hold some of these drivers off.
I wouldn't be surprised if that car's sporting a bit of damage. He could have picked up some earlier, and then when he pitted, that you used the fast repair, not expecting to pit again, and then suddenly have a little moment, so then you're stuck driving. But I think also he did a 49.3 last lap, so there's no damage there. That's a super quick time. I think he's just pushing hard now because it's all before him. You got to battle as hard as you can, and you know, fight. And as we see before, you know, when you make that little mistake or you get caught up in an incident, you fight hard from the back. That's when you've got to be careful not to fight too hard.
See, Gallo is just trying to get up on the back of Josh King, Chow Kinzelfillo and Wakefield. These battles are all starting to come to pressure now, Cowie, as we get into the final, up towards the final 15 minutes. Down into the back stadium section. Kinzelfillo just trying to come back here within this battle at the moment, and Tessero is not going to make, Wakefield's not going to make it easy for him. Yeah, he's much fresher rubber. So he comes up the inside of Wakefield.
I wouldn't be surprised if he took some tyres there. I was just trying to have a look and see what the stop time was for Trifilo. 7-second stop, so I'm going to have to talk to these guys and see what the nuances are, but I get the feeling that a race like tonight, we would have seen quite a few of them take tyres, you know, when the safety car came out with, you know, 20 minutes gone. We are about just over 15 minutes from the finish. We've got about 10 minutes more for another safety car to come out and make my prediction come true. I think yours might be a little bit on the long side. Maybe you should have went with your gut tonight with only a single one, Hamish.
Yeah, I think I probably should have just stuck to my gut on that one, Cowie. It was maybe a little bit overzealous trying to go for three. As this is the moment with Burns. Oh, he just hooked the wheel and dropped him out, unfortunately for him.
Probably a racing incident for race control there. I don't think anyone slid out. It looked like everyone was in control there, just trying to go 3 wide. That was ambitious.
Very ambitious from Mr. Burns there. Up the front, though, it is still De Bono who leads the way. He's got quite a gap over his teammate Matty Gerard by about 11 seconds, so nothing to sniff up as Gerard and Catakazinos continue to work together. Dawson at the moment in P4 on the road with Roberts not too far behind him, and then Ferguson a bit further behind in P6 at the moment. Benici in behind him. Caldwell leads the amateurs.
Those guys have been battling all race, Ferguson and Benici.
They have.
We saw them close, you know, sort of line astern earlier on in the race, and you know, we're talking 20 laps later and they're still battling. So P6 and 7 on the road, they'll be happy with this so far. And you know, at the moment, Benici's staying close, but they're doing almost an identical lap time. So that lap, it was a 1:49.868 from Ferguson, and Benici got a 1:49.859, so 9 thousandths separated them on the last lap.
I think there's been an incident up the back, Cowie, with Sheafy and Kevin O'Neill. Although it looks like
coming into the chicane.
Oh, late dart there from King as Sheafy comes through. Big lock though, and a big tank slapper.
And is that?
That was
340 of O'Neill, is it?
Yeah, that was O'Neill.
Yeah, unfortunately coming in, and he'll have to fix his car. I'm wondering if they're giving these guys a couple of fast repairs now, because I think we're seeing a few of them sort of come in again.
They're not starting to give anything up at this stage. Brooks all over the back of Hodgkinson as we come up towards the final 10 minutes of the race. Brook is just trying to hold with him at this stage in time. Caldwell looks to have amateur proceedings locked out, Kelly, which is good to see from him.
Oh, there's no lockout with 13 minutes to go. It's only one mistake away. We've seen what happens when you make a mistake. It can cost you, 5 to 10 positions. So it's definitely not over yet. He is looking good though, running inside the top 10 overall. Keegan Caldwell, he's really sort of shown some sort of mature driving, I think, the last few rounds, and starting to reap the benefits.
Yeah, maybe he's getting some more officials into him, although he's still not that C class, so he can't race these things in officials, but maybe he's putting the practice in a little bit more, and he's finding some more pace in this car as well.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've seen that this car does seem to be a little bit easier than the original F3 to drive, and that is maybe sort of bringing some of these guys a bit more confidence and able to push a bit harder. Again, you know, as I said, when we swapped cars, my fear was that it'd lose the fun factor. But I think, you know, with the weather and we are still seeing these guys sliding the car around. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's a positive note. And, you know, a tick of approval so far for the Superlight.
Yeah, it's offered us up some great racing. A lot of clench moments so far, Cowie, with so many of these tight battles really coming under full pressure here tonight. We mentioned it before the race. It's one of those tracks that has really been leading to this sort of battling happening, and it's really been leading to these guys having to battle it out nice and hard on track, but it has led to a bit of chaos out there too.
Yeah, look, it's one of the things that you know, F3 series sort of has gone its own way for the past few seasons. You know, it did used to follow the same sort of track themes as the rest of the series when we did our, you know, British tour and the American tour and those sort of things. But, you know, what we found is that tracks like Sandown and Winton and that don't really endure themselves to great racing in this car. So the, you know, Hutto and the other admins, you know, decided to maybe take the F3s more along, you know, looking at the proper circuits for that the F1s follow and sort of taking that in their wheelhouse, I suppose. And what it has meant is that, you know, I think the tracks that these guys have raced on for the past sort of year or so has been pretty inspired, and, you know, we've seen some great racing over that time.
Let's check out, and I just want to talk about how good the performance has been so far from Alan Dawson tonight. Nice, clean, consistent race, up in the 5, trying to chase down that second and third position at Katakazinos. They want to try and hold out their Velocity SimLabs podium lockout at the moment. I think a bit of team play is going to come into here. It might be a bit of a test for Dawson to try and get past them if he wants to get up into P2 on the road.
What we saw with his breakout victory with the fuel save, that he does know how to look after the car, and I think what you're seeing here is that through the midsection of the race, he's you know, been patient. The safety car bunched everything back up nicely for him. He's up 4 positions from his start, so maybe doesn't have the outright pace of the front runners here in the F3 series, but showing that, you know, race smarts and consistency, you know, will put you in positions where you can start to fight. And I think at the moment, you know, if he's kept up these tyres in fairly good condition, we could be seeing a fight late here in the race for the podium.
I mean, hopefully we can, you know, final 10 minutes of running, and he wants to try and give us a show, does Mr. Dawson. He's already given us a bit of a show this season when he got his first win. It's not looking likely that my half prediction of trying to get a new winner here tonight is going to come to fruition. The only way that's really going to happen is if top 4 somehow wreck their cars and Dave Roberts gets onto the top step. But we could be seeing here a nice battle here for a podium, and Dawson trying to continue this run towards a championship fight with De Bono up the front. But yeah, hopefully he can stick with these guys, get up nice and close to them, and hell, maybe even give us some phenomenal final 5-minute viewing in a battle for the top 3 positions.
Like I said, we did.
Oh, something happened to De Bono? He's just on the radio there before. It looks alright. He's still got a commanding lead. Maybe
might be asking about blue flags, possibly.
Yeah, bit of traffic maybe. Create a little concern for him there. But look, I think, you know, the big thing is, you know, I think I predicted it. You know, if one car got a little bit of a break, he was going to run away with it, and that's what De Bono's been able to do tonight. There was a great battle early on with Gallo and Dwayne Burns, right in the middle of it there with Gowans as well, but one little mistake and suddenly there's a gap, and that's given De Bono a chance to run away with it.
Yeah, he's looking like a super strong contender for this championship, and we knew last season if he had made majority of the races, he possibly could have pipped David Gallo for that title as well. But this season will be a coming of age for him here if he can hold this out for the next 6 rounds after tonight as he starts the next lap of this race. Jace Douglas in the chat asking how your day's going, Cowie.
Yeah, look, it hasn't been too bad a day today. I had to go out shopping with Mum, so I endured the pain of that for about 3 hours. You know, but as you can see, I managed to make it through the other end of such a tragic day of events. To be here tonight to, you know, watch some mates and fellow sim racers throw these open wheelers around the Nurburgring.
It's been a great race so far. 53.5 minutes into proceedings, Cowie. Dawson's all over the back of Katakazinos, and he's looking to keep the pressure on the Velocity Sim Labs drivers. This will be now the test, whether he's willing to just hold out and contain P4, or he's willing to push on and try and get up to P2, where Gerard is not too far up the road from him at the moment.
Oh, there's a podium on offer here. I'm sure Dawson has got his eyes fully on the prize. The thing is, can Gerard and Katakazinos work together to keep him back there? You can see that maybe, you know, Sam's got great pace to stay with Matty Gerard, or perhaps Matty has just made sure he stayed back to give Sam the tow, because that may be what keeps Dawson back there.
I'm thinking a bit of Velocity Great Wall of China about to come, where they're going to make the track as wide as possible for both, or make their cars as wide as possible ahead of him.
The chicane up here has been the big centre of tonight's race. We've seen multiple guys have a big go. We know that 3 wide does not work. 2 wide is risky, but at the moment, everyone in a nice rhythm, as you would expect after what we've had about 25 minutes of running now since the safety car, so well and truly inside the groove.
As with only 5 seconds left, it looks like it's only going to be 1 safety car tonight, Cowie, so I should have gone to my gut and just picked the old one. You know, go big or go home. It's fine, we were both wrong on that one. And see Dawson all over Katakazinos now. This is the battle for 3rd place on the road. One of the closest battles we have on track at this stage in time. I can see on the timing that Gallo, Gowans and Burns are also having a nice battle in the background too. But this is the battle we're focused on. Battle for P3, and the first challenge Katakazinos has had tonight since the top 3 have broken away from that mid-pack inside the top 10.
We could just see there that, you know, he just had to battle a little bit there in the T1, and that gave him a little bit of time. Gerard, I'm sure that Matty's looking after Sam here and making sure he stays nice and close, because he probably had a chance then to check out a little bit, and you know, instead, look, it's closed right back up again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the team play works out. If Dawson can win this little 1-on-2 handicap for the top 3 position in either P2 or P3 on the road, getting super close under brakes there on Katakazinos as they come through into the final sector of this race, running a little bit wide though onto the sand. Not too bad though.
Track there, using all of the track and then some.
See this, Katakazinos covers the inside. Gerard has the outside line with Dawson trying to line this up. It's better of it this time by. Oh, big slow run though from Gerard. That's going to back Katakazinos right into Dawson now. And this battle's now going to heat up for the final couple of minutes of this race. DeBono's gone. He's checked out. He's got the win. But this is the battle for P2. And it's 2 Velocity cars versus Alan Dawson all on his lonesome here in P4 on the road. Just trying to put a challenge onto them at the moment.
I do know that it's not something that every team practices, sort of how to drive, you know, in these sort of situations when there's 2 of you, but we can see here that the Velocity Sim Lab boys doing the basics at least, where Katakazinos is just coming out, making it a bit wider, you know, telling Alan, look, if you want to try and use a double slingshot, then you're going to be running a really, really inside line to get us. And again, you know, both Matty Gerard and Sam Katakazinos here working together. You see already there Sam popping out to cover the inside. or coming back in. So he's making that move early on to sort of dissuade Alan from making an early move of his own. So Alan really just needs to apply the pressure here and hope that he can maybe force a little mistake.
Yeah, maybe he's just trying to get Sam offline, and then if he comes back too late for the defend, it might cause him to make the mistake in the corner. Similarly to what De Bono did last week when Konitska was behind, and then obviously it didn't work out for De Bono. Maybe that's what Dawson's hoping for here with Katakazinos.
Sam just making sure he's out. Probably partly too because this car doesn't have brake lights, and the last thing he wants to do is run into his teammate in front of him too. So maybe a smart idea to sort of just get out of that slipstream, as you come near the braking zone in case something happens. But I think it's more, you'll see here, he's used the slipstream, then he'll pop out there, and they're both going too wide down into T1. So these two could be battling, but Dawson going for a big spin around the outside. He'd be looking for an over-under, but it's really hard there to make that stick around the outside of that section.
Well, you see that they swapped positions to try and make their cars as wide as possible, and as you mentioned, create that bit of a velocity great wall effect. Final lap of the race now. De Bono's far ahead, 17 and something seconds. Out in P1 with Katakazinos P2, Gerard P3. We're on board with Dawson, who's trying to chase these boys down. Just trying to put in as big of a challenge as he possibly can here in the dying embers of this race. This is going to be his last opportunity, Cowie. This is the last lap he can do it. Will we see a final lunge at the last chicane? We'll have to wait and see here as Gerard takes back P2. Katakazinos lets him have it, as they're just trying to defend position and defend that velocity lockout in the top three at the moment.
Exactly what they're doing. When one gets a run, he lets him through, and the other one gets a run, he lets him back through again. So it's all about running as fast as they can to keep a fast and hard charging Alan Dawson from taking the last step and spoiling the Velocity Simlabs holidays. But coming around the last corner, it will be Dylan De Bono, who's run away with victory tonight. He was right at the front battling at the start, some great battles, but once the gap appeared, he was able to check out and get that done. We come back to the battle for P2. It is Gerard who is holding on to a final corner. Can Dawson make a bit of a send? Looks like the Velocity Simlab boys have done the job and will lock out the podium tonight for the pros. And that is 2 Pro-Ams as well. Look at that. We now have a look at the AM battle, and it will be Keegan Caldwell, who coming around the last section with a great drive. P8 as an amateur in amongst the pros, and P number 1 in class. Great drive by Keegan.
That means now we're only going to have 4 people to talk to here tonight, Cowie. The top 3 and Keegan.
That's it. Look, I do say that races like this, they do tend to throw out those outliers, and with just the things that happen. Poor Burns with a decision there under the safety car that probably cost him a good result. Gallo with that unfortunate contact. Gowans, with that causing that unfortunate contact. That took a couple of the front runners out, but Matty Gerard and Sam Katakazinos, they jumped in when the grandpa falls. The kids pick up the check.
Well, they've done well, have Velocity. I believe they're I want to say they're the first team, but I think Kittens did it as well, who have gotten a top 3 lockout.
DFR, Downforce Racing, have also locked out the F3s
right.
in the past as well. They were the first team, I think, to do it. The Fishy Motorsports guys and the V8s were used to seeing them lock out podiums week after week, but there was half the field with Fishy Motorsports drivers at one stage. But no, look, it's great to see those team battles. They really do, add another nuance. And we saw there, we'll have a chat to the Velocity Simlab boys, but I bet you that Gerard and Katakazinos, they weren't worried who finished P2 and 3. It was all about keeping Dawson in P4.
Well, they've done exceptionally well here tonight, Cowie. Our provisional race results up on screen for you now. This is how they lined up when they crossed the line here tonight. But with penalties possibly to come, it could change in future. Dylan De Bono finishes P1 on the road. leading out a Velocity Sim Labs podium lockout here tonight ahead of his teammate Matty Gerard, who comes home P1 for the Pro-Ams, P2 overall ahead of his teammate Sam Catagazinos, who comes home P2 for the Pro-Am, P3 overall. So then Dawson and Roberts, who make up the Pro podium. Fortunately for Dawson and Roberts, they didn't make the overall podium, so they don't get a chance to talk to us tonight. Ferguson and Benici in behind in P4 and 5 for Class, P6 and 7 on the road. And then Keegan Caldwell, P1 for Rapid iRacing, comes home P8 on the road tonight. Nathan Verney, Callan Hodgson make up the top 10 ahead of Gowans, Gallo, Burns, Kinzel, Philo and Schmalenberg, who make up the top 15. It's then Tessuero, Schmalenberg, Singovic, Johnston, who make up the top 18 cars on the road. As they move back to Walker, Rosanita, O'Neill, King, Brook, Sheaf, Noble, Wakefield, Kanitska and Grotch didn't end up finishing the race here tonight, unfortunately for them, as I don't think Wakefield and Noble did either. I believe Sheafy was the final finisher on the road here tonight. For our amateur class, though, this is how they lined up provisionally here tonight. It was Caldwell to Schmalenberg to Tessuero to Schmalenberg to Singovic to Johnson to Rosanita, Noble, Wakefield, Matisic, who never actually started the race here tonight, did Danny. Then moving to Pro-Am land for Gerard, Catakazinas, Ferguson on debut gets on podium. Ahead of Benici, Verney, Hodgkinson, Walker, O'Neill, King and Sheaf. And then for the pros, a couple of drivers didn't start the race tonight, Cowie, but it was DeBono to Dawson to Roberts to Gowans to Gallo to Burns to Kinzel, Philo, Brook, Kanitska, Grotch, Edwards, Pocock. Well, Pocock didn't start, neither did Edwards. Grotch, he ended his night early, as well as Kanitska as well. So that's how they line up in the end, and all in all, good night of racing.
Yeah, look, unfortunate to a couple of the boys there, the pros, getting caught up in a couple of little incidents. But, you know, that is racing, and when you're racing so close and hard, there was 5-6 car battles. They were going 2-3 wide into corners at some places there, so there was bound to be a little bit of carnage. We maybe overcalled it tonight. The weather stayed away, but it was still a great night of racing.
So we just await our podium finishes and our amateur winner to get into the green room to come and have a chat here tonight. Out at the Nurburgring, let us know what you thought of the race in the chat here tonight as we get some scenic images of the start of the race happening in the background for our viewing pleasure until we have the opportunity to go on board with some of those winners. We have got Keegan in there. He's eager to come in. Might as well chat to him straight away, being the amateur winner here tonight. Mr. Caldwell, out of nowhere, you get onto P1 for your class here tonight and a top 10 finish as well. You look to be on the up at the moment, mate, and you look to be fighting out for wins in your own class, but also for those top 10s. So some practice must be coming a long way and getting you a bit more comfortable in this car going forward. Are you there, Keegan?
Are you there, Keegan?
Imagine he's lost his opportunity because he can't hear us or we can't hear him. There he is. I see his mic moving.
There we go. I think he is.
You are very low. I need to turn you up a lot. Give me a second here. All right, Keegan, how'd that one feel for you, mate? Obviously a class win here tonight and a top 10 as well.
Oh, it felt awesome. I had the incident at the, I don't know when it was, around lap 6 or 7. Regret doing it.
Oh, turn you back down. It's just fixed itself. So we'll adjust the sounds here. Yeah, so how was that one for you, mate?
Oh, we lost you again, Keegan.
I think we may have lost him again, unfortunately. Oh, Keegan, we'll put you back in the green room, mate. We'll come back to you later and see if you fixed yourself there. If we don't, though, congratulations on your P2 here tonight, P1 here tonight for class and your top 10. And best of luck next time out on track. But we will check in with you again after we talk to these Velocity boys just to see if you sort your mic issues out.
TV answers.
You there, Keegan?
Yeah, no, something's going on.
Well, we'll give him another go afterwards. What we'll do is do we want to chat to all the Velocity boys at once, Cowie, since they're all from the same team?
Yeah, I think we just bring a lot of them in.
Yeah.
And have a chat to them. I do want to have a chat to Matt and Sam and see how they were playing it there at the end. But Matt, Sam, did it matter which one of you guys finished first, or was it all about making sure Alan stayed in fourth?
That last one, because I was the one at the back. That was my one, just to make sure that we could keep a podium lockout.
Yeah, we decided that I might have been the quicker one by, maybe a tenth or so, and so I'll do the towing.
Well, I did sort of note that I saw there was a little, I don't know if it was a little mistake, but Sam and Alan had a bit of a battle there, and they fell a little bit back from you, but it wasn't too long before Sam was back up on your tail, so it was a bit of just making sure you kept him in a DRS style range.
Yeah,
No, I'm talking at the end of the race there.
Near the end there, yeah, it was. I did pull a gap on Sam there, and it exactly as you say, it was about getting him back in the tow. So I slowed right up, actually a bit more than I anticipated, and so did Sam. So nearly hit the rear of me. But the whole time there at the end, it was about the three of us on the podium.
Well, he had a good gap, and I was screaming like a banshee, like I need to get away from Alan. So he decided to help me out with a little bit of tow, but he overdid it.
Hey, you got past him on there on the last lap. Did you have to let him back through? Was he cursing at you?
No. He made a boo-boo entry in the last corner, starting the last lap. So yeah, I took advantage of what was available, and then I made a boo-boo. I overcooked the corner, and he came back through again.
So what you're saying is it was still on between you two. You were happy to see how it fell, but again, we could see you sort of pulling out and making it a bit wide for Alan, just stopping him from any opportunity of getting up the inside.
Really, for me, during the race, especially the restart, was to single file each other and not keep fighting each other too wide and allowing people behind us to catch up. And then when we got towards the end of the race, if there was an opportunity, we'll take it. But still, in my mind, if it was going to be such an effort to try and get Maddie that we're going to go too wide for 5 corners, no, I'd rather not do that. I'd rather just keep the podium to ourselves rather than say, I think Alan, he was also really good. Alan Dawson kept up with us. So, I didn't want to fight too wide with Maddie, and then Alan gets an opportunity to overtake one or both of us. So I didn't want that to happen.
Now, Dylan, the first 20 minutes of that race, mate, was absolutely hectic. You had a massive train behind you, and looks like it was on for young and old.
Yeah, mate. Obviously, I was just managing the pace up the front for the first 15, 20 minutes. Thought to myself, if I push harder here, the gap's not going to change because the draft is so big. So I just dropped the pace down a little bit, looked after everything, and then sort of with maybe I think it was about 10 laps left of the stint. I started just pushing a little bit more and just tried to get out of that draft range, and worked real well.
Well, you saw the incident happen, and that gave you the chance to check out, and you did.
Yeah, is that the one after the safety car?
Yeah, after the safety car,
Yeah. I seen that happen, and I was like, oh, my aim was to get in front of both of those two cars as quick as possible. One reason, just so I could get a gap from Gallo, and it worked well. And then seeing they crashed into each other, I was
Awesome. Well, I'm going to throw it to Hamish because I've done all the talking so far.
Well, I mean, you boys become, I think, one of under 5 teams to ever actually lock out a whole podium overall in the F3. As a team, how does that feel to know that you've pulled that off? Obviously, I mean, arguably Dougie should have been up there tonight due to his pace, but made a mistake early on. How does it feel to get that achievement for your team in this series, and also for you, Dylan, to actually continue to consolidate this championship lead by getting another win under your belt and doing it in dominant fashion as well?
Yeah, obviously, going by your first question, it means massive amount to the team. This last season we set out to really try and be dominant in the F3 car or the Super Formula car. We've been putting in the effort. You asked the boys, Matty, Sam, Doug, Marty. We're putting in the laps, and I think we've been strong all season. Just been a little bit unlucky in some areas, but tonight shows we were well and truly on for a top 4 there. Velocity top 4. Dougie got in a little bit of unlucky, but it just shows how far the team's come, and we're just proud to all be a part of it.
Oh, boys, it's been an exceptional performance here tonight, a dominant one as well, even though it was tested for the podium lockout towards the end of the race. Let us know who helps get you three out on track and Velocity Sim Labs as well, and anyone else either of you want to give a shout out to as well. And once again, for myself and Cowie, massive congratulations on this P1, 2 and 3 for round 3 of Season 2.
I'd like Dylan to take it out.
All right, just big thanks to, like you said, Velocity Sim Lab, Haikoki Power Tools, Here to Race YouTube channel. Thanks to SRW for hosting the league. You guys are streaming it so you can go back and watch all the races. And don't forget to check out Velocity Sim Lab on Facebook and give it a like and follow.
Very good, boys. Well, congratulations. Best of luck out at round 4 next week. It's going to be a tough one out at Imola. Of course, also an F1 Shadow round. Hopefully you boys can continue this strong form on into round 4 and on for the rest of the season. And I'm sure we're going to speak to any combination of you throughout this season going forward.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, we'll test to see if Keegan is good to go once again, Cowie. Hopefully he's all good. Keegan, are you there, mate?
I am here.
Oh, very good. We got you once again. Sorry we had to cut you off there, mate. We just thought we might as well talk to the other boys, give you a chance to fix yourself up and then bring you back in. But P1 in class, mate, obviously, and inside the top 10. Have you been getting some more practice into this car? Because you look to be going... You went for some, I would call, overzealous moves, but somehow you pulled them off tonight. So are you getting some more practice and some more consistency going in this car now?
Not 100%. Like, I don't own the track. I owned the track tonight, and I think I did 15 or 14 laps in practice. And through qualifying, I was getting faster and faster and faster, and I seen that I was getting up towards top 10, top 15 and whatnot, and I seen that I was having some good pace. In the race, I didn't believe that I was going to get P1, because last 2 rounds I've qualified really well, then I've dropped back through the race just due to incidents and whatnot. Then the incident that I had through the last chicane with, I think it was Mr. Ferguson, where I got wheel damage and whatnot, I did an extra lap, hoping there was a safety car, and I heard over the broadcast that they were bringing one out, so I was excited to get some fuel, new tyres, and get back into the race.
Now, we looked back at that incident, didn't we, Cowie? We came to the conclusion that it looked like it was net code, and I think it was just one of those scenarios where you came through the corner, you put the car in the middle of the track, he wasn't ready for your car to be right in front of him, and you both just had a bit of coming together. I mean, it still worked out for you in the end. You still got that top 10. You still got that class win. You know, are you looking forward now to the rest of this season? Hopefully, trying to continue this run and maybe try and move your way up the ranks once again.
I'm always looking up, getting further and further. I convinced myself through the first 2 races how good I was going through qualifying to try and replicate that to the race. And through the first 2 rounds, I didn't go too well, but I reckon with this top 10 and P1, I reckon I can consistently do it for the rest of the season.
Oh, awesome, buddy. We have been watching you there. Seemed that it was a track that maybe suited your style if you were up to get up to pace, you know, up to 14 or 15 laps. But we saw a couple of nice bold moves there, man. They just, you know, the gap opened up and you went for it, or was it more that was the rhythm that you were in and they opened the door?
I think it was probably both at the same time. I seen there was the gap. I went for it, and I went for it, I think, twice, and it worked out. So I just kept doing that move, and it put me up a few positions, and yeah.
Oh, mate. First of all, we want to congratulate you on your class win here tonight and your top 10 finish. Let us know who helps get you out on track and anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well. And final question before you do that. Are you going to tell Zane about your win?
Yes, I'm texting him right now and telling him about it, because I've rewatched some of the Insta broadcasts, and I've seen that he's been in the chat, and cheering me on and whatnot. So
Well, mate, the amount that he asks to see you, I reckon you just need to start streaming so he can have both up. He can see you all the time, but then he can also see some of the IMSA battles as well.
yeah, I was trying to stream the races and that through the first 2 rounds, and I think it's just due to my internet. I kept dropping out, like through the Indy Road sprint. I was in P8 and I dropped back 3 laps because I dropped out of and whatnot. So I'm trying to get it better, but I'm trying not to go towards streaming it at this point till I get a better internet connection.
Oh, very good, mate. Well, let us know who gives you the support out there. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to as well before we let you go?
Not really, but I'll give a shout out to G-Force Simulators. They hit me up with a new Monza wheel and base. It's a big upgrade to what I used to have, the Fenatech DD Pro. Sway's Fit, awesome dude. I met over in a couple other leagues, bunch of fitness where he's got partnerships to Rapid Racing, Wallaby Racing, and Formula OCE. They're 3 leagues that I started racing with F123. So big shout out to them for helping me get into racing and be where I am today.
Very good, mate. Well, best of luck next week out at Imola. Hopefully you continue this good run of form into that one. And if we don't get a chance to speak to you, mate, best of luck for the rest of the season.
Rightio, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Cowie, that will bring an end to our broadcast here tonight, mate. Nurburgring, it delivered once again for a good bunch of racing. I think it doesn't really matter what you bring around here. You just get some good, hard battles happening all across the board here, don't you?
I think it's one of the things you're seeing confidence with, the drivers in the league. I know that a couple of our front runners had a bit of contact tonight, but they'll be back racing hard again next week, and they won't let that bother them. And it's one of those things, as a racer, when you think bad things keep happening to you, you can maybe question the people you're racing with, but sometimes it's just, maybe getting in the sink, and then the next season you have a blinder and you love racing with them. So in the end, it's all about trust, and I think these boys are, trusting each other, and we're seeing great wall-to-wall action on track, which is exactly what we want to see.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will bring an end to our broadcast here tonight. For myself, Hamish Munro and Andrew Cowan alongside me, we so appreciate your time joining us here once again. We want to thank all of our series sponsors, including our title sponsors, Shannon's Insurance and Warren & Brown Tools, as well as our other sponsors, Motorsport Australia, NeuroPower, DSL Rail Services, Shunt Scenery. I feel like I'm forgetting one off the back of that. But we so appreciate your time joining us once again. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon as well, so you are notified anytime we go racing here on SRWtv, including the Tuesday night Warren & Brown Tools, Grim Industries was the other one that I forgot, including the Tuesday night Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Series, the Wednesday night Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals, the Thursday night Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86 Nationals, which is also a Motorsport Australia official series, the Friday night IMSA Shadow Series brought to you by Warren & Brown Tools, and then rounding out our racing week, our V8 Supercars Super Sunday / Monday during Scops rounds brought to you by Warren & Brown Tools. We thank you for your time. We thank you for joining us once again. And we thank you for taking us into your home or wherever you may be watching from, or whenever you may be watching from as well. If you're watching us live, be sure to get into the chat. If you're watching us after the fact, be sure to get into the comments. Let us know what you think of the series and what you think of the league as well. But as I said, for myself, Hamish Munro, Andrew Cowan, we thank you for your time. We thank you for being with us here once again for the Shannon's Insurance Formula 3 Nationals. But until next time, we'll see you tomorrow night for the Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86 Nationals. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and bye for now.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to snip on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us.